Okay, real estate taxes and other liens. Okay, so real estate taxes, nobody likes paying them, but what the taxes, everybody gets to pay them, is living somewhere. Unfortunately, in Ohio, real estate taxes are the major way our schools are funded. It's not the best way, but it's the major way our schools are funded. It's constitution, yeah. Or, well.
It's been ruled unconstitutional 6 times.
But they still do it. They haven't changed it. They haven't come up with a better way of raising money. What else? Because she's in education. That's why she knows. Property taxes.
80%, 90% goes through schools. And it's ruled unconstitutional the way that they fund schools, but yet they still fund that.
Right, because they haven't figured out a better way of doing it. And a lot of states still do it that way, unfortunately. But what other reasons do we pay taxes? What else are tax dollars used for?
Police.
Police, fire,
Streets,
street maintenance, can be hospitals, can be what?
libraries,
Schools, parks. What else?
Road construction.
Road construction, maintenance. In my community, the garbage pickup is part of my taxes. Not every community has that, but in my community it is. And if you read through mental health levies, other kinds of things get attached to property taxes.
Libraries.
What about what's going on right now? Who's trying to tell us they're not going to ask us for more money, but they want us to help us build a stadium? FC Cincinnati. Soccer stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all want to do that, don't you? Don't you want to use your money for a soccer stadium? Okay, but if you live in Hamilton County, you're paying taxes right now for the Reds and the Bengals stadium. And that just irks the heck out of me because the Bengals stadium gets used all, 8 or 9 times a year? And then it's done. Now, when they first opened the Bengals stadium, they said nobody else could play. It couldn't be college or high school teams or anybody else can play. Now they have opened it up and let other people use it. But it's still, there's only 8 games and we're still paying for it. And
They got 100 years.
yeah, they should use it for a soccer field, but they don't want to tear up the turf. Well, when they build is what they're going to do with it, yeah. But right now, FC Cincinnati's playing at UC, and they pay UC to rent the stadium. Yeah, there ain't enough seats, but they're still using it because they haven't found another place to go. Yeah, to become national playing, they got to. That's the next step. Okay, so we are paying obligations, state, local governments, in form of taxes, become a lien against the property. Why are they a lien against the property? When we talk about liens, what happens if you don't pay your taxes? They can ultimately force you to a tax sale. If the taxes aren't paid long enough, you can go to a tax sale. Any of you investors out there, you can go online and you can find tax sale properties that are available, which means they've gone and got, eventually they get a sheriff, they literally evict the people out of the house, and then you can come back in and buy it for the tax lien. It's not in great shape, but it might not be any worse than a foreclosure. Tax lien sales. Tax lien sales. And when I was in the trust department, I actually told the trust department not to pay taxes on a property we had on Eastern Avenue. It was going to cost us more than $10,000 to get through the title issues with it. The property wasn't worth $1,200. I told them quit paying taxes on it and let the county come back and take it and sell it, and then we'll have a sheriff's deed, and then you won't have any more problems with clouds on title because the sheriff's deed will sell it. It won't be a great title, but it'll sell it and be done with it. And as the trust, they don't have to go to the expense of doing it. They looked at me like I had 3 heads. Why would a trust who has money want to do that? I said, because you're spending money to do something that's not going to help you. And just let it go. Get rid of it. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I left before it was done. We want to talk about the characteristics of statutory and equitable liens. We're going to talk about general taxes and special assessment taxes. I am working with a property in Dayton right now, the shopping center I manage, and I'm trying to figure out with the posted tax numbers how to figure out what my tax lien bill is, and I can't figure it out. I need help. Somebody has to guide me through it because there's lots of things going on with this multi-million-dollar piece of property, how they figure taxes on. The reason I have to figure it out is because there's a special assessment for one of the tenants based on their property record card, and I need to figure out how their taxes are solved, gotten to, so I can figure out what we're doing right with it. But it's hard. It's not an easy thing to sit down with the property value, the appraised value, and take to the tax card and say, these are the tax rates and therefore this is your taxes. It's not that easily done. Liens. Liens are charges or claims against property to enforce payment of money. All encumbrances, all liens are encumbrances, which means they cling to the property, but not all encumbrances are liens. So encumbrances can be somebody, my property sits 2 inches on my neighbor's property. It's an encumbrance on their property, but it's not a lien. It's not a financial thing. Types of liens. Voluntary. What's the biggest voluntary lien that we have? And why do we do it as voluntary? Because it's the only way to buy a house. So we will sign our lives to buy that house. But it's totally voluntary. We're not under any duress. We're signing and we're doing. Huh?
Have you ever been in that situation?
Huh?
Have you ever been in that situation?
What?
Somebody didn't want to.
When you go to buy your first house and you realize a $130,000 house is going to cost you over $400,000 by the time you pay 30 years of interest, you will not sit there voluntarily and sign that damn paper. You will go, what? Oh, I just had a heart attack. Why am I doing this? Even when you're all done, oh, I just bought a house, but I'm still having a heart attack. Why am I doing this? And you will have to hold the hands of all your customers that go through this for the very first time, too. It's a killer when you realize what's going on with that. Involuntary types of liens would be taxes. It's not something we do voluntarily. Statutory liens, well, actually the taxes are a statutory type lien because they are enacted through statutes, state statutes that allow taxes to happen. They don't just happen willy-nilly. There are laws that are passed or things that are on the books that allow them to charge us taxes. We have equitable liens, we have general liens, and we have specific liens. So there's lots of different kinds of liens that you're going to read about. What do you need to know for your test? You need to know the number one voluntary lien is the mortgage. We need to know that taxes are liens. So liens go to different kinds of things. General, we have involuntary taxes. They're equitable and statutory. Specific, we get a voluntary mortgage. We get involuntary taxes. And then we get vendor's liens, mechanics liens. So typically when there's been a vendor lien or mechanics lien, as a homeowner, you've invited somebody to do work on your property. You just haven't paid them for the work that they've done. As a builder developer, you've invited contractors to come in and supply the property with materials and build and do a trade. If they're not paid, they're going to file a lien. I'm getting ready to do a roof contract for the North Park building. It'll be $880,000. Before we make a payment, there's actually lien waiver paperwork. It's part of the contract we give them. They have to sign lien waiver paperwork that says that they will not file liens, that they're being paid in full. Because we want to be able to keep that paperwork in case they show up someday and prove that they've been paid. So that's part of our contracting too when we do that, to fight it the other way. Okay, effects of liens on titles. They will hold up a title. As a realtor, as a residential realtor, we have no authority, no power to file a lien on property to get payment for our commission. As a commercial realtor, we can file a lien on property to get paid our commission. But it's a very small window, and the last thing we want to do is piss off people that are selling and leasing and owning real estate by filing liens every time we do a transaction. We will not, we won't make ourselves likable by the people we're trying to do the business for by filing liens. So we have a commercial lien for commercial real estate, but they're almost useless because by the time we file a lien, we've run beyond our window to make it worthy. When we have a lien on title, okay, a lien on title, this I talked about, you have a mortgage. You thought you paid your mortgage off, but you didn't. And they can't find through the title history a satisfaction of mortgage, but the bank no longer exists. So they're going to go try to find a satisfaction mortgage. So the title company will actually do a release of lien paperwork. They'll submit it to the new title or the takeover bank or whoever it is to try to prove and get some officer to sign this that says, yes, the mortgage was paid in full. We're releasing the lien if it was never released on title. But you have to do that to be able to sell it because that lien will stay with the property, and any lien that stays with the property can become the new owner's liability. You can buy property with liens outstanding. Nobody stops you from buying property with liens outstanding, except a mortgage company. A mortgage company will say, no, I'm not going to give you a mortgage on a property because there's other liens outstanding, and those other liens take a priority over the mortgage. They go first before the mortgage. Now, the mortgage company may say, yeah, we can do that lien because that lien's nominal. Very small, we'll still give you the mortgage, we'll still get paid. And we know that other lien's first, but it doesn't factor in our equation much. So we can still buy properties with liens. But mortgage companies, for the most part, want all those liens cleaned up because the mortgage company wants to be the first in line to file and take advantage of their lien to take property back. So priority of liens in Ohio, it's how the lien is, the date the lien is filed. First in is first priority. So we want to make sure, mortgage companies want to make sure they're first, and this is why right after you have a closing, the mortgage company is going to race down the courthouse within the next day, and they want to record the lien, record the mortgage, to tell the world that they're the first in line to get it. And then we can also have subordination agreements to these liens and the priorities. Real estate taxes, we have the ad valorem taxes that are general taxes, which are most of our property is the general tax. Then we can have special assessments for improvements. For equalization, we have tax rates, we have tax bills, we have statutory right of redemption through all this whole piece. Statutory right of redemption is when a property is going to be put up for foreclosure sale. We have to give the property owners notice that they have the right to redemption. Before the foreclosure happens, they can come in and stop a foreclosure by paying off the mortgage. That's the right of redemption. In some areas, the right of redemption can go on after the foreclosure sale, which gives people like another month or so to come up with funds to buy out and make the sale a non-sale. In Ohio, for the most part, when we have a foreclosure sale, the right of redemption has happened before the sale happens. When we have the sale, the new property owner can take it without the threat of redemption. And because there's a threat of redemption, a lot of people, they wouldn't want to participate in foreclosure sales. They would make it a non-thing because people wouldn't want to be buying something and having to wait to do work or get a property, to wait to see if they can't get it. Other liens. Again, we have the mortgage lien, we have the mechanics lien. Judgment liens. What's a judgment lien that you can think of?
Or like if you didn't.
If you lost a court case.
Yes.
If you're found guilty of something, liability, and you have damages, they can come back after your real estate. Okay, I gave a letter to my tenant the other day to tell them I'm going to file default because they haven't paid their rent in a while. What we want to do is come back to that tenant and help me help you not to do this. The way you help me help you not to do this is I want to see what other investments you have. What other ways do you have with coming up with money to pay this lease, to get the lease done, to buy out of the lease, to be done with it. But if they didn't file bankruptcy and I was able to get a judgment against them because they personally guarantee that lease, that judgment could come back to their real estate because it's a personal guarantee. So that's where the judgment would come in. We could go back to their property and file a lien on the property and force closure, a foreclosure sale, to get that lien paid off.
So I know real estate taxes will, they take priority over a mortgage.
Correct.
What about like federal, like you haven't been paying your IRS, you know, your
Yeah, the IRS can lien your property. The IRS
they
will
don't
lien your
identify.
property. I think the IRS lien will come
Okay.
before a mortgage too. But yes, the IRS is another taxing source that can lien your property. When you offer to post bond for somebody, you typically will put your property up as the bond posting. So you can lose your property that way as posting bond. So there's different ways through your process or through different legal channels that you can actually lien your property. Now, posting a bond might be considered a voluntary lien. Most people are posting a bond to get somebody out of dire situation. And it's a family member they're typically doing it for. And again, it's a dire situation. They're trying to prevent somebody from going to jail. But if they don't show up for their hearing, they might have to lose their real estate. So we have estate and inheritance taxes as well that can go against real estate. Liens for municipal utilities. The bail bond liens, what I was talking about. Corporate franchise tax liens can go against the corporation real estate. And then the IRS tax lien. So those are all the different kinds of liens that are out there. And that is it for liens. Oh, we finished. It's 8 o'clock. Any questions? These were just running through everything. You need to just sit down, read through it slowly, get an understanding. Do your chapter questions. Will help you review for your test and help you learn the materials.